So now to introduce our first speaker on the panel today, Barbara Calixto, who is Chief Marketing Officer at Wallbox Chargers. Since 2019, Barbara has led Wallbox's global marketing and communication strategies, as well as managing a growing team of more than 20 strong marketeers. Over the course of just 1 year, Barbara has helped to increase the number of female leaders at Wallbox 6 times. So I've no doubt she'll give us some incredible insight into driving forward female leadership. So please do remember to send in your questions to Barbara using the Q&A tab just below. So Barbara, thank you for joining us today. To kick us off, could you tell us a little bit more about your professional story and how did you get to where you are today?
Sure. Hi, Michelle. Thanks for the intro, and hello everyone who's connected. Thanks for joining us today. So as you said, I've been with Wallbox since 2019. It's a great story how I ended up meeting Enrique, the CEO and one of the co-founders of Wallbox, and ended up here. Going back a few years before that, my background is actually I was born and raised in Brazil. And then I was working in the beverages industry in Brazil, and then went to the US to get an MBA. And at that point, I shifted my career to first merchandising, working in retail. And then from that, the next step was marketing. So I've been working with marketing for the past 10 years now. And initially in technology companies in the US, and then eventually moved to Spain to take on a global role leading the marketing team for a ride-hailing company called Cabify. And that was how I entered the mobility sector. Well, Wallbox is a Barcelona-born company, and I met the co-founder of the company in 2018. And he was seeing the work that we're doing at Cabify and said, well, I need someone to help build the Wallbox brand. Called me, we had some great conversations. It just wasn't the right moment at that point. For me, professionally, I was still building some of the work that I had at Cabify, and then here for Wallbox, we're just not fully aligned, but we stayed in touch. I believed in the project from the beginning. I think that one of the first things I realized when I was joining this sector is the electrification of the fleet is not only something that is going to happen, but it's something that should happen for a lot of aspects, right? And the environmental benefits to it is one of them for sure, but not the only one. So I believed in the project from the beginning, and then it was just a matter of time for finding that right moment to join. And then since then, I got the pleasure to build the marketing team here within Wallbox. And we've been growing and just doing a lot of interesting work in this space. And it's been a very exciting journey so far.
That's great. And also, how do you respond to kind of creating increasingly diverse customer audiences? Is that through your diverse leadership?
It has a lot to do with that, yes. So the theory that me and my team work with is, that's actually very interesting because we did a survey and we commissioned a study here at Wallbox that really validated a lot of these points. It's interesting to think about the automotive industry is very male dominated, but the user base of the automotive industry is not. It's actually pretty diverse. It splits almost evenly between men and women, right? So from a gender perspective, it's quite balanced. And yet the industry itself serving that audience, and we'll call this audience as marketing jargon, but think of that as the drivers, right? And the car owners. That is pretty balanced. And so starting from that point, the thinking here is we now get the opportunity to, first of all, try to reflect more this balance that there is in the user side of the automotive industry internally. And with that, we will slowly start breaking some of these self-fulfilling prophecies that are built into this system that has existed for so long. And the saying goes, well, first of all, by having more people working, not just in marketing, but in all areas of the company, more women will get their different point of view, will get their different way of analyzing and understanding, and then therefore explaining and building things incorporated to the process. It also has this side effect of breaking this in other engineering, for instance, which is a sister industry and academic field of automotive, that it's also male dominated, right? So because we have this movement where women are growing their participation in many fields, as you open up these opportunities, you just kind of start changing the dynamic from the inside out. So that is definitely one of the things that we've been doing. And I think the potential here is immense. I think that we can not only represent different points of view from a user base that is already diverse, but also by doing so, helping the adoption of EVs come from that diverse base, right? And we're seeing this, but I think there's still room to improve. One of the things we found out with this study that we commissioned was that 42% of EV owners, we did this, it was a pretty comprehensive study done across 9 countries. And on average, 42% of the EV owners, so people who currently own an EV, 42% are women. On the intender base, 45%. And then when you analyze the causes why they haven't adopted EVs, you can see some things that kind of work together here. And we are just gonna, by analyzing these, sorry, just a second. Sorry, guys, I'm in the office. We had a little drop by. So when we look at the causes why they haven't, some of them have to do with, I don't understand the technology, I don't get the technology. Well, these are things that, you know, if we look at the automotive industry, it has been always like this, right? Like women go to the car shop and it's like, well, are they telling me something that is correct? I don't know. We have to break this, like make the product simple so that we don't need to have an engineering degree to understand what you're saying, right? Make this, use data to show me what my car needs so that I don't have to be guessing if I'm being treated fairly or not by those. So I think there's an opportunity. That's why I talk about the relationship part. We can really build a more trust-based relationship by thinking about things differently, right?
Yeah, I completely agree with every word you're saying there. So thank you very much for that. So we're now just going to take a look at questions. So we have actually had a question come in from the audience. Let's see. So Barbara, do you think the consumer base of EVs has typically been mostly male as a reflection of the people working in the industry? Is this changing as the industry becomes more progressive? I guess you've kind of said it then, but yeah, anything more to say on that?
Well, in the interest of time, I'm not going to repeat the points, but I do think it's just one of those things where the user base is actually more diverse than the industry itself. Now, imagine what we can do and how much better the experience of this user base will be once we have the same balance inside the industry as we have in the users. I think that we will enjoy our experiences much more, and then brands and their consumers will be much more closely tied. I see this as a huge opportunity that in which the user and in the industry will win by building these more aligned experiences.
Yeah. We have some more. So often women are known for their organizational skills, but how do you avoid being pushed into an administrative or PA role when you're striving for a leadership position?
Now, what a great question. I think we have so many skills, and like one of the traps we have to avoid here is let's not try to fit people within roles or skill sets that are not necessarily coming intrinsically, but rather being a representation. One of the things that I work with the team here is if your best performers, like one way to see if you have an actual good strategy for building diversity in your work environment is look at your best performers. If all your best performers are the same profile of people demographically, not looking at just gender, that probably signals that your system is set up to incentivize those people to be successful and not others. If we assume that most people are capable, have been matched correctly to their jobs and their skills, they should feel comfortable and be able to perform well, right? So that's one cue. So taking this into this context, a lot of times we see women going away, moving away from positions that would be more tech oriented or the hard skills oriented, because those environments are male dominated and can be harsh because there's no flexibility to manage their own professional lives with their own family lives. So I think then when we see the numbers and say, well, there's more women in administrative roles, well, they must be better at that. Well, not necessarily, right? So the way I think we can help as companies and as leaders, we can help that is make sure we're setting up a workplace that enables people to be successful in doing what they're good at and what they're interested in doing. And as a professional, make sure you're looking for companies that offer you. If you don't feel like administrative work is your thing, then look for a company that is willing to take your skills and your interests and let you apply them in a way that works for you.
Yeah, definitely. And also, a part of that, you did touch on it lightly, but how can companies implement effective flexible working to allow women to reach positions of leadership and have a family?
Unfortunately, I think that's it took a global pandemic to get us to learn some of these things, right? We've been forced to. But in addition to this, and obviously, I think, God forbid, we need these things to show us how to do something that we should have been able to do 18 months ago, right? But I think that the sheer realization that we, as much as we have separate personal and professional lives, we are one, and we'll have to make this work for everyone, not just for women. I see so many things going in the direction to change that. But I think that the flexibility and the technology are better than ever to enable these things. And then just some will, internal will and commitment to making this, I think, that are super important from all parts. Like, the more people commit to this and actually learn to work and deliver on their expectations, and then the more companies enable and give the conditions for people to do so, the better this will work. And I think that many companies, willingly or because we were forced to, have been learning how to make this work lately for men and women alike.
Well, thank you very much, Barbara. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and I look forward to welcoming you back later on for our full panel discussion.
Thanks.
Thanks.